The palace is in turmoil, and this time, it's not just whispers. Just moments ago, royal insiders confirmed what many feared. Queen Camilla is actively working behind the scenes to delay Princess Catherine's return to public life. After months of silence, the Princess of Wales was finally ready to step back into the spotlight. But Camilla reportedly saw it as a threat to her own dominance. In a stunning twist, Prince William has stepped in directly, challenging his stepmother and defending his wife in what sources are calling the most explosive royal showdown since the Diana era. Catherine plans her return. After months out of the public eye due to her ongoing health recovery, Princess Catherine begins preparing for a highly anticipated return to royal duties. Behind the scenes at Kensington Palace, her staff coordinate what would be her first major appearance since April 2025. The plan was to begin with a charity gala linked to children's health, one of her long-standing commitments. Royal advisors hoped the event, scheduled tentatively for November 18, 2025, would symbolize stability and resilience. But trouble began brewing the moment the comeback plan reached Buckingham Palace. Insiders revealed that Queen Camilla, rather than welcoming Catherine's return, voiced subtle objections. She expressed concerns over timing, claiming that public focus should remain on King Charles and the Queen's recent initiatives. This unease came despite the fact that Charles himself had approved Catherine's planned engagement weeks earlier. The tension wasn't about logistics, it was about control. As rumors of Camilla's disapproval spread, multiple sources confirmed she had begun lobbying behind closed doors. Using senior aides as intermediaries, Camilla allegedly suggested to Charles that Catherine might not be fully ready to resume royal engagements. She also reportedly questioned whether the optics of her return would distract from ongoing palace campaigns. Aides from both Clarence House and Sandringham noted a sudden cooling in communication between the Queen and Catherine's staff. By early November, the once-celebrated return of the Princess of Wales was hanging in limbo. The press remained unaware, but internally, the tone shifted. What was supposed to be a celebratory milestone now looked more like a battlefield. Camilla's influence loomed large, and Catherine's team realized they were not only managing a calendar, but navigating a growing power struggle. As whispers of resistance circled through the palace's inner corridors, Camilla didn't wait to voice opposition openly. Instead, she took a quieter, more calculated route. What unfolded next exposed the hidden chessboard inside the House of Windsor. Camilla's behind-the-scenes maneuvers begin. Operating from her base at Clarence House, Queen Camilla began methodically reshaping the royal schedule. In internal memos circulated between November 4th and November 7th, her team proposed adding several engagements for Camilla that directly coincided with Catherine's anticipated appearances. Events such as the Royal Literacy Awards and a Commonwealth Tea Summit were suddenly thrust into prominence, each positioned to dominate the press cycle. It became evident Camilla wasn't opposing Catherine's return directly. She was outshining it. At the same time, Camilla pushed for Catherine's re-entry to be framed as a personal wellness check-in, rather than a formal return to duties. One leaked draft from her communications office, dated November 6, 2025, stated, "Her Royal Highness's reappearance should be supportive, not symbolic." Palace insiders say this language aimed to reduce the impact of Catherine's comeback, to shrink the moment into something quiet and forgettable. The internal divide among aides became stark. Some longtime royal advisors, especially those who served under Queen Elizabeth II, voiced concerns about the shift in tone. They believed that downplaying Catherine's visibility would hurt not just her, but the image of the monarchy itself. Meanwhile, younger aides aligned with Camilla's camp insisted on a united front, one where all senior royals shared equal space. "It's not personal," one junior advisor claimed. "It's about cohesion." But few believed that explanation. Then came the email leaks. Communications between Camilla's team and Buckingham's scheduling staff, marked confidential, clearly objected to Catherine being featured alongside Charles in upcoming family portraits and holiday messages. Royal historian Margaret Renly, speaking to the BBC, called it a sophisticated form of sidelining. And by now, the message was clear. Camilla wasn't just resisting Catherine's return. She was orchestrating a palace blockade. But palace secrets never stay buried for long. The carefully hidden campaign to suppress Catherine's reappearance would soon reach ears it wasn't meant for. And Prince William's reaction would change everything. William finds out. Prince William had been kept largely in the dark about the resistance to Catherine's return until early November 2025, when a concerned aide handed him a printed thread of internal emails. The documents, dated October 31st to November 6th, revealed coordinated efforts to downplay Catherine's role, traceable back to Camilla's office. The Prince of Wales, known for his calm demeanor, reportedly lost his composure upon reading them. William, who had spent the past months supporting Catherine through her recovery and shielding their children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, viewed this interference as an unacceptable breach. More than that, it reminded him of the very dynamics that once tore apart his mother, Princess Diana. In a closed-door meeting at Kensington Palace on November 9th, William called in senior aides and demanded to know who authorized the changes. Insiders say he didn't mince words. Catherine is the Princess of Wales, not a footnote in someone else's agenda. He accused palace aides of allowing personal favoritism to overrule royal duty. He also reportedly issued a stern warning. "If this continues, I'll go public. The people will stand with us." It was a line in the sand, and it rattled the room. For William, this wasn't just about Catherine. It was about the future of the monarchy. He saw how Camilla's growing influence over Charles had already affected scheduling, PR decisions, and now personal family matters. He viewed this as an erosion of balance, one that needed to be stopped. By the time he left the meeting, aides confirmed that he had scheduled a private confrontation with Camilla for later that week. A royal showdown. By the second week of November 2025, with tensions at a breaking point, Prince William took the bold step of confronting Queen Camilla directly. Sources close to the royal household confirmed that a private meeting was arranged on November 12th, held behind closed doors at Clarence House. While initially described by aides as a routine family consultation, multiple insiders later revealed it was anything but ordinary. What unfolded was a storm of long-held grievances, fierce accusations, and deeply personal wounds reopened in royal silence. William entered the meeting with one goal: to demand an explanation for the deliberate efforts to sideline Princess Catherine. According to a well-placed courtier, the Prince of Wales stated firmly, "You're not protecting the monarchy, you're protecting yourself." He laid out the timeline of interference, citing exact dates, leaked memos, and withheld approvals that aligned with Camilla's engagements. The meeting lasted just under 90 minutes, but left an emotional impact that is still echoing within palace walls. Camilla, caught off guard, defended herself with measured poise, claiming that her only concern had been Catherine's readiness and the Queen's need to maintain balanced public focus. However, William wasn't swayed. He pointed out how similar tactics had once been used against Diana in the early 1990s, and how Camilla, then a silent force, played a key role in that chaos. He concluded, according to one aide, with the stinging line, "I won't let my wife suffer what my mother did." The outcome of the meeting was reportedly explosive. Camilla was said to have left visibly rattled, retreating from upcoming public appearances for the rest of the week. William, meanwhile, made it clear to King Charles that further obstruction would be unacceptable. Behind the velvet curtains of British tradition, a confrontation decades in the making had just erupted, and the royal family would never be the same again. While one royal was shouting behind closed doors, another remained quiet, but no less powerful. Catherine, ever graceful, chose a very different path: strength through composure and purpose over palace politics. Catherine's quiet strength. While whispers of palace sabotage consumed headlines from November 13th onward, Princess Catherine chose a different route. She did not address the chaos, nor did she retreat in fear. Instead, she focused on her recovery and her quiet preparations to return on her own terms. Reports confirmed she continued holding weekly planning meetings from Kensington Palace, consulting directly with representatives from Child Bereavement, UK, Place 2BE, and the Royal Foundation. Her focus remained, as always, on service, not scandal. According to longtime aide Louisa Markham, Catherine reviewed each upcoming engagement with precision, choosing which events aligned with both her physical limits and public impact. Rather than pushing for flashy appearances, she opted for meaningful ones: a hospital visit in Surrey scheduled for November 25th, a school literacy initiative in Liverpool, and a joint effort with Prince William to highlight mental health support for veterans. These choices weren't random. They were statements of intent. Behind the scenes, Catherine was aware of Camilla's efforts to reduce her visibility. According to two courtiers, she had been briefed on the internal delays and recommended messaging changes. However, rather than confronting them head-on, she asked a simple question: how can we be of service today? That mindset, echoed repeatedly in team meetings, showcased the vast difference in approach between the Queen Consort and the Princess of Wales. As the press speculated and insiders leaked, Catherine remained calm. Her approach reflected not just dignity, but strategy. In stark contrast to Camilla's more aggressive grip on image, Catherine relied on public trust, earned over 13 years of dedicated royal work. Her silence, according to one royal historian, was louder than any statement she could have made. The people noticed, and they responded. The silence didn't last long, however. By mid-November, the public tide was turning fast, and the woman once protected by discretion was now facing a different kind of spotlight: backlash. Public backlash begins. As more royal correspondents pieced together the internal drama, the narrative took on a life of its own. By November 16, 2025, social media exploded with outrage. Hashtags like #LetKateShine, #HandsOffKate, and #Queen. In Waiting began trending across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Users began pulling side-by-side comparisons of Catherine and Camilla, highlighting their public service records, favorability polls, and symbolic importance to the monarchy's future. And the verdict from the public, resoundingly clear: Catherine should rise. Media outlets quickly caught wind. On November 17th, both the Daily Mail and The Guardian published exposés citing palace aides, with headlines like "Camilla's Quiet Coup" and "Inside the Tug-of-War for Royal Influence." Columnists blasted Camilla's ambition as self-serving and tone-deaf. Even formerly sympathetic publications like Tatler began questioning her media strategy. A poll conducted by YouGov that week showed a 12% drop in Camilla's approval rating, particularly among respondents under age 45. The generational divide became impossible to ignore. Younger Britons, many of whom had grown up admiring Diana and later embraced Meghan, now turned against Camilla. Her decades-long effort to rehabilitate her image had taken a massive hit. One viral post read, "We forgave. We moved on. But you went too far." The court of public opinion, once hesitant, now delivered its verdict loud and clear. Inside the palace, the backlash triggered a shift. Several aides who had previously deferred to Camilla's preferences began quietly changing course. A meeting on November 18th between King Charles's press secretary and William's media advisor reportedly focused on damage control. "We need to cool this fast," one aide was overheard saying. But the damage had been done. The Queen Consort had crossed a line, and the people weren't willing to forget. Charles under pressure. By November 19th, 2025, it became clear that the public narrative was slipping out of control. King Charles III, who had long relied on Camilla's counsel in private, now found himself at the center of an escalating crisis. Palace insiders reported that his advisors held a closed-door strategy session at Sandringham Estate, attempting to decide how to respond to the growing backlash. Charles was described as visibly distressed and torn between personal loyalty and institutional duty. What made the situation more volatile was the pressure coming not just from the outside, but from within the family itself. Prince William, now speaking more firmly behind closed doors, reportedly told his father in a November 20th meeting, "The people want to see Catherine. The monarchy needs her. You can't hide her away." This plea, according to a courtier present at the time, left Charles speechless. He had hoped to avoid a direct confrontation, but his son's words made neutrality impossible. Aides feared that continued inaction could permanently damage the royal family's credibility. Catherine, known for her grace and work ethic, was widely viewed as the future queen in waiting. Suppressing her presence to accommodate Camilla's insecurities risked alienating a key demographic: younger, reform-minded Britons. Additionally, Queen Elizabeth II's legacy of stability loomed large. Many felt Charles's failure to manage his court with similar clarity would be seen as weakness. By November 22nd, Charles began holding private meetings with advisors unaffiliated with Camilla's inner circle. The shift was subtle but significant. For the first time in months, William and Catherine's perspectives were being weighed with serious intent. No formal statement had been made, but the message inside the palace was unmistakable. Change was coming, and Camilla's unchecked influence was no longer untouchable. That change would arrive not in the form of policy or proclamation, but through a single powerful image, a public appearance designed to silence speculation and restore confidence. And it would come from Catherine herself. Catherine's comeback. On November 24, 2025, the royal calendar marked a highly anticipated event, the National Children's Health Summit in Birmingham. Initially unconfirmed, whispers began spreading the night before. Princess Catherine would attend. As the morning sun rose over Buckingham Palace, crowds gathered near the summit venue, cameras in hand, anticipation high. Then it happened. William and Catherine stepped out of their royal vehicle together, hand in hand, smiling, unshaken. Catherine wore a royal blue ensemble, the same hue she had worn during her first royal tour in 2011. A quiet but unmistakable callback to her roots in public life. William stood beside her in a tailored navy suit, his hand never far from hers. The moment was brief, no more than 15 minutes, but it sent shockwaves through the press and royal watchers alike. Her presence was magnetic. Her health looked restored. Her role undeniable. Notably absent from the event was Queen Camilla, who palace sources claimed was fulfilling another commitment in Cornwall, a claim no one seemed to believe. Her absence from such a major engagement only fueled public speculation that a shift in royal dynamics had taken place. One tabloid headline the next morning read, "Queen in Waiting returns, alone at the top." The message couldn't have been clearer. Catherine was back. Within hours, social media buzzed with admiration. Hashtags like Queen Catherine and Huge Kate is back dominated trends. International press praised her composure, with the New York Times declaring her appearance a masterclass in modern royalty. This wasn't just a comeback. It was a reclaiming of space, power, and public trust. And William made sure the world knew. His loyalty was with his wife, not the old guard. But the emotion that followed wasn't just celebration, it was reflection. For many, this drama felt all too familiar. And as Catherine rose, so too did the memory of the woman who walked a similar path before her, Princess Diana. Diana's legacy casts a long shadow. The parallels became impossible to ignore. Within days of Catherine's return, news outlets began airing archival footage of Princess Diana, her battles with public scrutiny, her clashes with palace protocols, her quiet suffering. Suddenly, the modern drama between Camilla and Catherine was framed not just as rivalry, but as history repeating itself. Only this time, the daughter-in-law had support and the power to push back. Royal historians such as Dr. Lydia Fenton noted that the optics are eerily familiar. A strong, beloved woman battling internal resistance from a more calculating royal force. William, ever his mother's son, was now standing firmly beside his wife in a way that Prince Charles never did for Diana. And for the public, that difference made all the difference. Articles published between November 25th and 27th revisited past scandals, particularly Camilla's role in Diana's unhappiness during the 1980s and 1990s. Old interviews, including Diana's explosive 1995 BBC Panorama appearance, were rebroadcast, with clips circulating widely online. Viewers drew emotional connections between the women, calling Catherine Diana's justice and the monarchy's second chance. Camilla, by contrast, was portrayed as a woman unable to let go of influence, whose rise had always come at the expense of another. The effect was profound. Public opinion hardened, and the palace, already in crisis mode, began reviewing its strategy, not just for Camilla, but for the legacy the royal family hoped to uphold. Now, with the past brought back into full view, the question turned sharply toward the future. If Catherine was the new heart of the monarchy, where did that leave Camilla? And more urgently, what happens next? The future of the crown. By December 1st, 2025, the royal family found itself at a critical crossroads. Internally, the fault lines were undeniable. Externally, the public had made its voice clear. The monarchy stood between two queens, one rooted in survival, the other in legacy. And the people, for the first time in decades, knew exactly who they supported. Camilla's once quiet influence had become too loud, too controlling, and too costly. King Charles III, ever the cautious figure, now faced a legacy-defining choice. He could allow Camilla to continue her unofficial campaign of influence, or he could restore balance by empowering William and Catherine. Senior advisors presented polling data showing a 22% approval gap between Catherine and Camilla among UK citizens under 40. International favor also leaned heavily in Catherine's favor, especially in Canada, Australia, and the United States. Inside Buckingham Palace, preparations began for a long-term shift. Camilla's scheduled appearances were quietly scaled back. New messaging guidelines emphasized the next generation of royals. William and Catherine were given broader latitude to select high-profile engagements. Without an official announcement, the power shift had begun. Camilla's reign as queen consort was intact, but her grip had loosened. For William and Catherine, the path forward was one of restoration. With Catherine's return, they focused on rebuilding trust, reaffirming royal duty, and gently guiding the crown into a new era. The monarchy, battered but still standing, found its future not in secrecy or sabotage, but in unity, transparency, and the quiet strength of a woman once nearly silenced. In the end, the message was clear. The crown's future belongs to those who earn it. And with every step, Catherine is proving she already has. As the dust begins to settle around Camilla's alleged attempt to block Catherine's comeback, one truth rises to the surface. This isn't just a personal conflict. It's a battle for the future of the monarchy. In this modern royal saga, the power struggle is no longer behind closed doors. It's playing out in real time, with the public watching every move. Prince William's intervention signals a bold shift in royal dynamics. Once known for his diplomatic restraint, he is now taking a firm stand, not just as a husband, but as the heir to the throne. His message is loud and clear. Catherine is the future, and any attempt to sideline her will not be tolerated. It's a direct contrast to King Charles, whose silence on the matter has raised eyebrows and stirred speculation about where his loyalties truly lie. Camilla's political maneuvering, once subtle and strategic, has now been laid bare. While she may hold the title of queen consort, her actions are being met with increasing public scrutiny. The very traits that once helped her navigate the treacherous waters of palace life, discretion, influence, control, are now seen as threats to the unity and stability the monarchy desperately needs. Meanwhile, Catherine's response has been one of unwavering grace. Despite the storm, she continues to prepare quietly, choosing duty over drama. Her resilience reminds many of Princess Diana, but with a strength forged in years of navigating royal expectations without losing her identity. Now, the spotlight turns to King Charles. Will he continue to allow Camilla's influence to dominate? Or will he recognize that the public's trust lies with William and Catherine? One thing is certain: the people are watching, and history is repeating itself. This isn't just about one royal event, it's about the soul of the crown. And in the eyes of many, the battle lines have been drawn. Camilla may hold the title, but Catherine holds the future. And with William by her side, that future looks stronger than ever.